on Josh's channel.
Good to see you, man.
How are you feeling today?
Feeling pretty good.
With this and also
Feeling good.
is there one tomorrow that I should be filming?
Oh, like in movie 2 when Sam kills the Kryptonian. It's in the trailer, but you see the eyeball.
It's coming off. I can't wait.
Cheers. Thank you.
Take a picture with it. I forgot to grab a picture with it.
Oh, geez.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
You guys, I can't. It's funny because, like, you know, when we talked about doing this, we had talked about this. We were going to show the movies tomorrow, and then we were like, "Oh, well, what do we do Friday night?" We were like, "Oh, let's show Twilight on Friday night," because then, you know, no one's seen that, and it's pretty crazy, and so. I mean, 2 episodes, I think, is what we're doing.
2 episodes.
2 episodes.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, maybe 3, but no, 2.
Wait till
I was like it a little longer, obviously. But yeah, no. So I think you guys are gonna have fun. When we get inside, I'll talk a little bit more about what it is. But I think you'll like it. Everyone is
Yeah. Thank you.
important that we now watch the actual motion picture that we were here for. Sorry. TV series. It's a TV series. It's not a movie.
Animated.
It's going to feel like a movie.
Adult animated.
Very adult, very animated.
Yeah.
It's more adult in the other.
There's a little something in this episode. You'll see. Wes, you got something to say?
Wes.
Wes.
Thank you all for coming out because I know a lot of you have traveled in from far away, and I think for us as filmmakers, the fans that we've been able to meet and you know support us throughout the years, you guys are amazing. And so to be able to be here tonight, to be able to share this, I know a lot of you are likely coming tomorrow. Just to have a week of celebrating.
We fear no gods. I fear no gods. A truce, Bruce. What is up, everybody? Shout out to everybody in the chat. Glad my video actually played for once. Really rusty, not a YouTuber. Always say it. But here regardless. Sorry I've been away. Been dealing with some personal health matters, unfortunately. Been in the ER 3 times now. Hopefully, like they say, 3rd time's the charm. I went on Monday morning and had a follow-up appointment yesterday with the PCP, and I have a specialist appointment tomorrow. So hopefully that's all good. But as you can see, I'm still standing. Whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you stranger. So with that said, let's get right into it. I'm not sure how long this is going to go, but we got to talk about Twilight of the Gods, now streaming on Netflix. As you can see, we're right over there. Make sure you have Twilight of the Gods streaming on all your devices. We are within the first 28 days of release. It released September 19th. So you better be doing your part. If you're a good soldier, you better have Twilight of the Gods streaming on all the devices. I know there's been a lot of distractions in the world right now and a lot of other stuff going on. There's hurricanes and stuff. But we all can try to do our part. As you know, there's more important things, but we can't solve all the world's problems. So we got to make the world smaller, right? So as far as being Zack Snyder, Snyderverse fans, let's keep the engagement going on Netflix, where we are treated good. As you can see from that video, fans were gathered from all over the world to an amazing event that started off as a exclusive event to watch Twilight of the Gods in the Netflix headquarters Tudum Theater, episodes 1 and 2. But then we were surprised after getting tickets, and it was revealed that Zack Snyder and Debbie Snyder and members of the production team, the composers, and just animators and every aspect of the process that made the series were able to join as well. And it was an amazing experience. I just wanted to talk about that briefly before we get into the non-spoiler section of the review, and then we would do a spoiler section of the review. But before I do that, let's check in with the chat. And we got the homie Sergeant Giratina. What's up? First in the chat, he says, glad to see you. He says, and nice that you're giving Zack's Twilight of the Gods series a shot on Netflix. I already watched the series in 4 hours straight. That's awesome, man. That's what you think. Let me know your thoughts on the series. Honest thoughts. Whether it was good or bad, I'd like to know. So shout out to you for being here. What's going on? Sin Havoc, 5150. Good to see you as always. And the homie, Bat Dad. I did a spoiler and non-spoiler review of Joker 1 and 2019 and Joker Fale Edu with Zod Rider and Bat Dan on his channel. So go and check that out. Amazing conversations always happening at Bat Dan's Thoughts channel. Good to see you, buddy. Hey, Sin Havoc, sorry about the other day. I didn't see your Superman comment till after the stream, and I thought you were talking about real world stuff. I know. There's a lot of real world stuff going on, right, Bat Dan? So it's always hard to interpret. But, you know, we do what we can. We make the world small, and we just keep on chugging along, right? Josh, where did you get that shirt? This shirt is one of many in my Zack Snyder's Joker line in my collection. I have so many Joker shirts. Only shirts of the actual Joker. So no other versions that aren't really the Joker. But as you can see, this one, Bat Dan, was the shirt that I was talking about. This is the first pick that was revealed from Zack Snyder when the Snyder Cut was about to be released. And I think it's very reminiscent of a certain aesthetic reveal from a 2019 movie that didn't happen to, you know, be a movie that I was fond of. But a lot of people were. $1 billion worth of people were. But not so much for the sequel. And we don't have to talk about that because I know it's a sore subject for some. We're moving forward, though. We are all about the mission. And the mission is sell ZSJL to Netflix, sell Snyderverse to Netflix. But this was from Hot Topic, I'm pretty sure. This one. It may have been, I know I got a batch from Hot Topic and I got a batch from actual DC Comics. This may have been the DC Comics one because I think the Hot Topic one, the writing was like in red, but it was weird. It was like not really visible. So I do want to say this one actually might have been from DC. So I know we're not trying to give them too much engagement, but you can find it, I'm sure, anywhere. But I have many more Joker shirts. Many, many, many more. Good to see you in good shape, Josh. You too, homie. Good to see you as well. You're always very committed to the streams, and you're always giving good conversations and insights. The series was quite epic and impressive. Oh, yes. Since I've been dealing with health issues, I haven't really been a very active person. I have a lot going on right now with family stuff that I've been trying, like help other family members' health stuff. I have a family member whose dog, we had to put down a dog day, unfortunately, my grandfather's dog. So I try to do much for others, but now I have to focus on myself and let myself heal. So finally last night I was able to just have some downtime, and I was like, let's freaking go and finish Twilight of the Gods. And I'm blown away. So we got to talk about it. We got to talk about it. Nerds. I know. We're nerds. So now that I'm caught up with chat, just want to briefly talk about this amazing event. I have kind of talked about it before because this was a series of events. This was actually, for me, the second event that I went to. I went to LA back in August. Started with the second ever charity screening of Zack Snyder's Justice League, Justice is Gray at the this was at the Egyptian Theater on Hollywood Boulevard that is owned by Netflix. And it was amazing. There was a lobby full of the black and white photos that Zack Snyder took for the Rebel Moon art book. And got to link up with some of the homies from the Syndicate Network and colleagues. And it was amazing to be in Hollywood and see that amazing movie on the big screen, which is still etched in my mind. It's funny that, you know, this picture is black and white because, you know, did get to see Zack Snyder's Joker in black and white. Yeah, thanks, Bat Dan. Yeah, my little my grandfather's Chihuahua Sugar. She is in heaven as of today. She just had kidney failure, and it was going to be a slow, agonizing death, and we had to make a difficult decision. And so, yeah, rest in peace to Sugar Girl. Sin Havoc says Leto will get his redemption. Stay tuned. Oh, I know. It's already happening online. Everyone's like, shout out to the homie Rock Talks. I get that not Jared Leto based on Studio Squad. It's not his performance, which was butchered, right? You got to understand that. That's not the actual performance. And in the editing room, his performance was butchered. So Jared Leto is not a lot of people's favorite Joker. But now, based on Twilight Rock Talk sent me a meme of Jared Leto from Shawshank Redemption in the rain looking up with Jared Leto's Joker face. Jared Leto realizing that his Joker's movie is no longer the shittiest Joker movie out. So I was like, yeah, justice for Jared is coming. So I am very confident in Havoc. And I knew this was all part of the plan. I knew this was going to happen. I did. But foresight is something we're going to talk about here in this series, Twilight of the Gods. Fingers crossed for some announcements this year. Hey, who knows? Foresight. Online is one thing, real life is another. Stay tuned. Yes, sir. Little will get his redemption in Aircut, ZSJO 2 and 3, and maybe the Batflick movie. Never know. A truce, Bruce. But back to the event. It was amazing. I actually got to meet one of the storyboard production artists, Peter Pablo, I think is his name. And he was who I posted on my tweet. Let me show it to you, actually. I can share the screen if I stop being so rusty at this StreamYard stuff. Like acting like I've never done it before. Here he is. Great guy. So we were just taking pictures after the event. Everyone was super excited. And I just kind of like noticed that this guy was there, and he was taking a picture he took that amazing picture of all the Syndicate Network and colleagues, because we were looking, everybody wanted to get in the picture. And then he was like, oh, okay. And so I talked to him and I was like, oh, thank you so much. Can I take a picture for you and your friend? Because he was with somebody else. And sure enough, so I'm a good photographer, I've been told, just like Joker. If you know, you know. And I started talking to him and I was like, check the pictures. Are they cool? And he's like, oh yeah, no, it's fine. This is just amazing just to be here. And he said something, him and his friend. He's like, it's just such an honor to see fans enjoying this. And I was like, did you work on the show? And he was like, yeah, I'm the storyboard artist for the animated series. I was like, no way. So I started talking to him. And so when Skywalker the Jedi was doing his live stream, I was like, Sky, this is the storyboard artist. And then of course everyone swarmed him. And so I let him have his shine. But it was good to see him and see his work get recognized on the big screen, because it was phenomenal. And of course, let me go to the other pics. Of course, you've all probably seen this one, me and Mr. Zack Snyder. It's really blurry because I took a screenshot of the picture. The bottom one's from the Rebel Moon event. And then this one is with the Queen herself, Queen Debbie. Looking gorgeous. It was so good to see her smiling face. As you can see, her towering over me, but she is a goddess herself, and we cannot, have Zack Snyder amazing art without the other half, Debbie Snyder. So shout out to Debbie Snyder for being there and always being just a lovely presence, always giving great energy and helping Zack make his art. Oh, we got a hero in the chat. We got my homie Bishop. What is going on to the Bishop? Go subscribe to this man's channel. He is only a few subscribers away from being at 100 subscribers, I'm pretty sure. If you are already at that goal, Bishop, let me know so we can give you some shine. But if you haven't, make sure you're subscribed to the Bishop's channel. Always doing amazing content. He's also on Qatar's channel, talking faith and comic books. And it's always good to see that dynamic between you two. And of course, he is a part of the cinematic universe One Punch Dan, which we all are going to be looking forward to in 2025. All right. He said, not yet. So go over, share the Bishop streams, share his YouTube channel with your friends, and make sure they like and subscribe because Bishop deserves all the shine. Good to see you, homie. Let's see. It looks like I missed this. Okay. Speaking of Suicide Squad 2016, I've picked out a movie for Hold My DualShock's Next Watch Along, and it's also directed by David Ayer, The Beekeeper. That's good one, worth watching again. I saw that you they did like a new drop or something. You are now like the sponsor or whatever from the stream. And yes, I did see that you would be able to pick the movie, and it's a David Ayer movie, and that movie is so good, right? So funny enough, I'll have to watch that watch along with you guys and share this because I was hacked right before watching this movie. So if you don't know, I don't want to give any spoilers, but this has to, The Beekeeper stars, what's his name? Jason Statham. And it starts off with an elderly woman being scammed by basically scammers online, click here and then your computer gets a virus and then they call this number and then, you got to give us your credit card number so we can fix it. And then they, withdraw all her money, leaving her, no money and heartbroken. And no one willing to help her. So yes, it gets you right away, right in the heartstrings. And you're like, these villains got to fucking die. And spoiler alert, a lot of people die. So it's an amazing movie. Shout out to David Ayer for making an amazing movie that touched my heart. It's not like cinema, but it's a fucking great movie in my opinion. But yeah, David Ayer's movies are all touching for me in one way or another. Good to see you, Bishop. Yeah, he says, love you, brother. One Punch Dan coming out on Papa Gunny Poo's birthday. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We are doing the most in 2025. So yeah, back to the event. Amazing time. And of course, the big highlight was getting to watch Twilight of the Gods episodes 1 and 2 with Skywalker the Jedi, Leon of the New Geeks, the homie Stino Bino, South Cali guy, Hayden, Chris Brown, Matthew Gross was there, new homie that we met up with. Sarah, she's a big she's a big supporter. She's the one who's always has the banners. Restore the Snyderverse, make the Batfleck movie, make the Deathstroke movie. She always is. You see her. She always has a mask on, but she goes to these events and has banners. And she was out at Full Circle as well, and that's where I recognized her in line. Me and South Cali guy, and I was like, "You're Sarah," and she's like, "You're Josh. I always see your stuff." Blah 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 blah. So it was good to see just members of the community and link up in person. And yes, Bad Dan, you are correct. Zack Snyder's Alfred, my personal favorite Alfred, is in The Beekeeper as well. And I got a kick out of seeing Jeremy Irons. He's so good in that movie. He's deliciously sinister. He's the opposite of Alfred in The Beekeeper. So looking forward to that. Sergeant Giratina, let us know when that watch along is, if you know tentatively. So yeah. So I've been blabbering. So let's go on. And I talked about the event. Let's get into non-spoiler thoughts of this amazing. Oh, actually, let me restart my Netflix. Keeping up the engagement. So making sure to engage over and over and over again. So, Twilight of the Gods on Netflix. If you don't know, this is from the brainchild of Slay Oliva, who has done so much animation work throughout the years. Worked on Spider-Man, the animated series, Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Spectacular Spider-Man. I think he did some work on Justice League, a lot of DC animated universe movies throughout the years. Dark Knight Returns, the animated adaptation, just amazing, and so much more. I'm just touching. Just go to his IMDb or Wikipedia, and you'll see so much. But yeah, Jay Oliva got to work with Stone Quarry Animation on their first project, and this was fucking unbelievable. When we got to see this, guys, because we got to see it almost way over a month and a half before it came out. It was freaking amazing. He's more like Scar in The Beekeeper. Yes, he is. That's how I first knew him, Jeremy Irons, Scar. Looking to watch along, ready by Wednesday, October 23rd or 30th. And I hope I can get Hold My DualShock to join me on a panel for one of my upcoming live streams this month. All right. I know you're always a big supporter, and that's where I found you on Hold My Dual Talks channel. So that's awesome. It's a masterpiece. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Twilight of the Gods is something that I was never expecting we were going to get from Zack Snyder, but something I'm so thankful for. With Zack Snyder, Slay Oliva, Debbie Snyder, Hans Zimmer, freaking this amazing cast. Sylvia Hoeks, I believe how you pronounce her name, Stuart Martin, Patterson Joseph, John Noble. Oh my God, like the who else? Jessica Henwick, Corey Stoll, Lauren Cohen from Walking Dead, and of course BVS, Martha Wayne. Who else? God, I can't pronounce some of these. Ray Porter, Jessica Henwick, so many. So if you don't know, Twilight of the Gods is basically Norse mythology. So, Wonder Woman, that's Greek mythology. That is actually something that I gravitated towards. Oh my goodness, we got members of the crew table. Shout out to The Flash. Good Austin. Getting ready for that revamped, cooler, good countdown. Sick shirt, man. How big was the screen you watched it on? That experience must have been so much different. The sound design in the series is so insane. Must have sounded awesome in there. Yeah, man. And it's a dumb theater. I mean, US Sky, US Leon, US Stino Bino, US Chris Brown, US Danger Hated. South Cali guy. It was fucking amazing. It was so fucking good. I actually got to just stay in the theater after the credits rolled and just listen to the score a little bit. And there were stars, right? There were stars everywhere. So there was like twilight everywhere, essentially. So it was just so freaking amazing to see. And we got another member of the cool table, El Necron. Amazing series. I heard, little birdie told me that El Necron engaged with Twilight of the Gods 3 times. That's my man. Might be 4 or 5 by now. But I don't blame you, dude. Okay, so preface, I've been feeling under the weather, like I've been saying, and it was really just kind of on my ass yesterday. And I was like, okay, it's time to just watch Twilight of the Gods. And I'm on medication, antibiotics and stuff. So I was honestly feeling drowsy. And it wasn't the show's fault. It was just my fault, right? So I got to the penultimate episode, episode 7, and I was just like, okay, this is going to be the last one. But then when it fucking ended, I was like, fuck. So I literally was laying down watching it on my couch. And then I was like, shit. Play. So I started the finale thinking that I was going to fall asleep. Nope. After that fucking finale started, I could not stop. It was just so fucking good. I agree, Necron, just amazing all around. And I can see why you engaged with it 3 times. I want to do the same, actually. I did invite some people. If you want to talk about Twilight of the Gods, I have a lot of questions, actually. And so because of my state of mind, I'm a little rusty on some of the details. And I know someone like El Necron and Mama Bear Doll know a lot about Norse mythology. So some stuff was a little fuzzy. Oh, what's going on? Geek Defense Initiative. Good to see you. Good to see you. Haven't finished it yet. Okay. Well, this is going to be, I guess, this non-spoiler section, but it's not going to go very long because we got to talk about these spoilers. So FYI, if you stick around, you're probably going to get some stuff spoiled. But for people who haven't watched it yet, it involves our main character, Sigrid, who is related to giants, but she herself is not a giant. She is a normal-looking human being. So she is a warrior, and we are introduced to her on the battlefield, saving her partner, Leaf, who is played by Stuart Martin, and Sigrid is played by Sylvia Hoeks. And so amazing, their chemistry just right off the bat. You're brought into this love, this romance, this warrior romance, right? That is made and then christened on the battlefield of blood, and it's amazing. Immediately, there, callbacks to Zack Snyder's Justice League and other Zack Snyder projects. Yeah, Loki was quite cunning and menacing. Yes, so we're dealing with Norse mythology. So we are dealing with, if you're familiar with the Avengers property, Thor and Loki, Odin, Freya. So characters from Norse mythology, who I am like somewhat familiar with. I was more drawn in school to Greek mythology, like Wonder Woman, right? Zeus, Athena, Hera, Hermes, all that. Norse mythology, I'm very rusty on. Of course, I know about God of War Ragnarok, right? But I don't know too much. So yes, Sigrid is a hybrid. She is human and giant, but normal appearance, right? As far as a regular human being. And she is our main character. And so this is technically, let me see, did I even make the banner? Oh, I did. Okay, so this is like technically the non-spoiler section. So let's just say Sigrid, something happens to Sigrid and Leaf when they're about to get married by the gods. And therefore, that is our catalyst because the gods do something to these two lovers and pretty unforgivable. And that leads Sigrid to go on a quest for revenge, thanks to the help of Loki, who is always the trickster. If you know anything about Loki, I'm honestly mostly familiar with Loki. The first exposure I would have even known about Loki was because of the Mask movie with Jim Carrey, where he is the night god. And so that's why the mask works at night. But we actually have a homie stopping by. You saw him, or I was recently saw him on his channel speaking about Joker Fale Edu. So fitting that we have Batman himself, Mr. Oh, did I add you to the stream? Let's see, did I not?
I think you can hear me, maybe.
Okay, there you are. There you are. What's going on, Bat Dan?
What up, Josh? Just really excited to talk about this awesome series. It shows that even in animation, Zack Snyder kills it.
Right? Like, just blown. I was freaking blown. So I watched it last night and I was just blown away. And so this was not planned at all. I just literally woke up and I was like, I gotta talk, because I had so many questions, because I literally watched it and had to go straight to bed because I had a doctor's appointment early in the morning. And so I woke up still thinking about it, went to my doctor's appointment, and then I was like, I need to talk to people about this. So give me your thoughts on this. Is the non-spoiler section, and I'm going to talk spoilers, but just real quick, what was your non-spoiler thoughts about this? I know it's hard.
It's harder with a series to do non-spoiler than it is a movie, but I would say just I really like the series. I really like Zack Snyder's twist on, or I shouldn't even say twist, just his interpretation on Norse mythology. And it's really funny because yes, I know that Thor and Loki are not Marvel characters; they are Norse mythology characters that Marvel has their own versions of. But let's just say I'm used to them mostly from Marvel, and there's a bit of a role reversal. We'll say a role reversal. I think that's a good non-spoiler way to put it. That I just was really intrigued by, and it's just a really different interpretation of the gods. And since we're talking about Norse mythology, a fun fact about me is I actually spent a summer in Copenhagen.
How was that?
It was fun. It was a study abroad program, but it was really great meeting people from different cultures. And we actually went to some Viking museum in Denmark somewhere. We took a bus there, and it was near a chalk mountain. I don't like how to explain it, but it's basically chalk mountain. Like the rocks are basically chalk. So
that sounds amazing.
It was a really, yeah, it was. So yeah, just figure this was a great time to bring that up. But yeah, just the it's such a great series, though. And again, guys, I promise I'm going to be less vague once we get into the spoiler section.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this too. So I'm going to be clipped out of context. I know I'm going to be clipped out of context when they're going to be like, "Oh, Batman's for animate the Snyderverse, animate the Snyderverse." I'm not for animating ZSJL 2, ZSJL 3, Batfleck movie, or Man of Steel 2. Those are live action. But the series, watching the series, gave me a great idea for an animated series that takes place in the Snyderverse, but not the main. Basically, the kind of not the main continuity, like Clone Wars. It's literally the Clone Wars of the Snyderverse, where basically this idea I have is basically after we get ZSJL 2 and 3, you tell an animated series, Zack Snyder's Justice League, the animated series that takes place between 1 and 2, since Zack Snyder put a 10-year time gap. So use an animated series to tell that story.
Okay. I dig it. Dig it. We'll have to fast forward to the spoiler section so you can give more thoughts on that. But let's look at this real quick because Il Necron says, when I was a kid, I was all about Greek mythology. Then I started Thor and Conan the Barbarian and got drawn into the world of Norse Germanic mythology. I love El Necron. I recently just watched the end of Skywalker the Jedi's finale, and you know so much about this this mythology, and I love the fact that I'm learning so much from you and Mama Bear. No, I can't hear it. Bad Dan.
Good.
But yeah, I don't know if you know this about me, like El Necron. I know you are the Dark Lord. I am fascinated with the study of religions, and I know you know about that too, and how our current religious social structure, is built on top of paganism. So that's something that we don't have to get too much into, but it is what it is, right? Our history. That's our history, and Christmas is part of that, Batman. But anyways.
Oh yeah, I know.
you know what you're getting into, right? There were plenty of Norse gods and mythological figures in this series, and Peter Stormare even voiced that werewolf too. Yes. How do you pronounce the werewolf's name? Is it Offer? Offer? Do you remember, Batman? I was trying to think of
I am bad with names and pronunciation. I'm gonna get a bit of I'm just gonna pull up
ULFR. And so I was like, they said it in the series, but of course, I was drowsy and I was thinking about it before the stream. I was like, how do you pronounce that again? I forgot, but I'm going to be doing that a lot. So I apologize. Right on, Bat Dan. We did not want animation done to the main DCEU. We want them all in live action and scripts done as originally planned and the characters that were promised to. Shout out to the Sergeant. Speaking facts. Niflheim are the children of Unkit, the mighty ones, and the second generations, also referred to as the Watchers or the Engineers. Interesting. That's why I don't call myself a Christian. Bishop knows what's up. Bishop knows what's up. If I nerd the wolf. All right. So I'm getting bored with speaking non-spoilery. How about for all the people that haven't seen this show, GDI, I know you're the only one in the chat that admitted it. That's fine. But this series is fucking amazing. It has to do with Norse mythology, main characters that you would know, Thor and Loki, and the roles are a little reversed. So like Bat Dan said, our main character Sigrid is out for blood, and we're going to get blood, sex, violence, rock and roll. So much more, in my opinion, than what we got from Rebel Moon Director's Cut, which I loved. But after I watched that, I was like, Twilight of the Gods delivered when I just did not expect this animated series like this to deliver. Let's see. Bishop says, as known as the fallen angels have it. Yep. And El Necron says Christianity had to incorporate some pagan traditions in order to get the people to convert, right? El Necron knows what's up. And Zack
Jesus
Snyder,
was born in the summer or April. Sorry.
Yeah. Zack Snyder was on a stream, and actually on the day that Rebel Moon, the PG, so chapter 1, The Child of Fire, was released, it was on the beginning of the winter solstice, the moon or something like that. And he said, he admitted that was deliberately done. and threw a little shade about, threw a little shade at Christmas. Like, oh, you cut a tree down and bring it in your house? That's cool. Shout out to Zack Snyder for knowing what's up, knowing his history. Spoilers, you've been
I'm
warned.
guilty of that tradition.
Oh, we all are. We're
Sort of.
American.
I
We're
mean,
American.
I do a manufactured tree, not a real tree, but still.
Fallen angels, yes, given the Knights Templar. Yeah. T.O.G.O. definitely delivered plenty of what Zach is known for. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Twilight of the Gods. All right, we are going to switch now. So here's your, I'll do what Bat Dan does. Here's your spoiler warning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thor's the bad guy. He slaughters Sigrid's family right in front of Leif, and everyone is dead. Sigrid is out for blood. Loki's the hero. What did I miss?
I still can't get over the fact that Loki's the hero. It's like that we're rooting for Loki and we're against Thor. That still feels like the biggest twist ever. It's because I think.
Go ahead.
Go on. I was just gonna say it's like that's something I have to kind of get over. Is because again, I know that this is that Marvel or that Thor and Loki are not from Marvel. I do know that, but it's because those are the interpretations I know the best. It's kind of hard. It was hard for me to kind of get that out of my head to be like, nope, that's not that. So
the Rainbow Road too. I was just like, at first I was like, oh, why is it not rainbow colored? when it was they were going to Asgard, and I was like, oh yeah, I just because I was I was so tired at the end of the night, and I was just like, oh yeah. And Mama Bear doll, about the hammer, Mjolnir, only Thor can hold it. That's not part of the myth. So shout out to the individuals who actually know the mythology and accuracy of that. The Knights Templar created the Vatican and have connections to the old world, especially Atlantis. And Havoc always dropped it.
That makes me ask. That was definitely Jesus in that one of the last episodes, right? That was they absolutely showed Jesus, which I was shocked that they did that in the Norse mythology series. I didn't expect to have any references to Christianity whatsoever, but I found it very interesting that they incorporated him into the series.
That was pretty, like, unfortunately had that spoiled for me, but it was fine. Like, it still worked, it didn't take away from that moment at all. It was still powerful and I was just like, oh my God, it's Superman. I was like, Superman's here. Superman's here. He's descending down from the cross. El Necron says, Twitter, I think he means Twilight of the Gods, is when you let someone who holds the topics dear to their heart make it. Rings of Power is when you don't. So I went to an event for Rings of Power season 1 where I saw episodes 1 and 2 in a theater, just like I did for Twilight of the Gods. Tried to watch episode 3. I did get through that one, but then I tried to start 4. I couldn't make it. And so I know Hold My DualShock, shout out to them. They're ragging on season 2, but I even got invited to season 2, which I heard was better, but I was just like, I can't do it. I got invited to a screening of 1 and 2 that was free with free popcorn and food. And I was like, I'm good.
You only get one chance to make a good first impression.
Yeah. So I was like, I got my movies. I'm good. I can watch the extended versions over and over again. The Rainbow Bridge is real. All right. And Odin wanted to know everything. Yeah. So what did you think, Bat Dan, about so what it sounds like you were just shocked when you saw Thor showing up butchering Sigrid's family in the first episode?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I did not see that coming. Because I just assumed that like Thor would be the good guy because he's Thor and the gods aren't bad. Like people worship the gods, but I really like the take of it though, because I mean trying to I'll put it like this. I was gonna go somewhere, but I'm trying to be careful not to offend people too much about, let's just say religion does not always make gods the good guys. They do some pretty dickish things. I think that's the most I'm going to say if you read any actual scriptures. So I mean, it's an interesting interpretation, but it's one that actually made a lot of sense. I mean, and really what's brutal about Thor, he killed those guys for fun, if we're being honest here. He didn't really need to kill all of them. I mean, they're like, oh, Loki was hiding here. It's like, he enjoyed it. I mean, he didn't do that looking for Loki. He freaking enjoyed it. It was fun for him. And show what a sick fuck that guy actually was.
He's not your Disney store, right?
No.
So Jesus, St. Havoc says Jesus was starting to be used about 150 years ago. And before that, his actual name was Yeshua. Does that sound familiar to you?
I knew it wasn't Jesus. Yusha, it could be. I
Well,
didn't really pay attention that much in Sunday school.
Watching Mel Gibson's Passion of the Christ, I was watching behind the scenes and how are they talking about the translation and the dialogue and the Hebrew being used, and the translation of Yeshua now would be Joshua.
Oh.
My name means salvation. It could also mean I'm just joshing you. So I'm very familiar with that Sin Havoc as well. Thor hates giants. Any excuse to kill them. Yeah, I got that right off the bat. And so the canon of Loki and Thor being half brothers, right? And then Loki being frost giant. That is something that came into play within the series. So was that something that you were kind of like, okay, this feels more familiar?
Yes. Because I mean, something I remember, oh yeah, Loki's a frost giant. That was something I forgot about, but remembered, yeah. So I mean, there's definitely like familiar elements of Loki to me. Like he's definitely a trickster. He's still 100% a trickster god in this series.
100%. Like you throughout the series, as we learn, technically, I said Loki's the hero. Not really. Loki's in it for himself. He parades and he masquerades as, oh, I'm here to help you. Yeah, Sigrid, I'm going to help you get the revenge. Gather fighters. You know, seek vengeance and blood. Kill the gods. Basically, he's the one who masterminds this whole band of rebels to unite against the gods. Therefore, spoiler alert, bringing about Ragnarok, the beginning of Ragnarok, which blew my mind. I was just like, oh shit, they're doing the thing already. And like, I know like Necron was talking about how he wasn't sure if it was going to go that far, but when he saw the, you know, leading up to it, he was like, yeah, they're doing the thing. And it's just the tip of the iceberg. So Sin Havoc says those gods created the religions. And Sargent says, yep, Thor looked more evil in his eyes when you look at him. Odin even quite surprised Sigrid when he showed up to the campfire to tell the story about the salt on the ship that sunk in the sea. Yep. Most people don't use the correct Hebrew Jesus name, which is Joshua. Yep. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Bishop. Loki, half frost giant, and Jotun, half Andromeda Palladian. And the name of Jesus Christ comes from Greek God. Look at this. Look, we're getting deep into this just from talking about a Zack Snyder project. Jesus equals Zeus. Yep. They're all like, so I don't know if you know this back then, but I actually was a few in my undergrad was a few credit. I got my major in psychology and my undergrad was actually in religious studies. Although if I would have wanted to that be declared as a minor, I would have had to delay my graduation date because I was like a few credits shy because I didn't declare my major till so late and my minor till so late. So I was almost about to be like veered towards religious studies, but that's another multiverse. But we have a foundation shaking first time appearance from somebody who can school us on all things Norse mythology. Let's welcome to the channel. I believe it's her debut, the one, the only Mama Bear Doll. What's going on, Mama Bear?
Hello, boys.
I think this is your first time here, right?
I think it is my first time on your channel.
Yay! Thank you for being here. How are you today?
Oh, doing really good today. Had a great day.
You had a good day. That's good. I mean, it's hump day, so we're almost to the weekend, right?
Yep.
It's Thanksgiving weekend up here, so yeah.
Wow, already? What do you have?
Yeah, we get a short week this week and next week.
Nice.
So do you
Is
also
it on Thursday?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that.
Well, the schools get the Thursday off.
Okay.
But they also take the Monday off, and most people do it on the Sunday or Monday.
That's awesome. Well, happy Thanksgiving weekend or weekend. So we were just kind of talking about the the religious history of everything, and I know you were talking about you've been participating in the watch alongs with Skywalker the Jedi, and I've
Yes.
learned so much from you and those watch alongs because you have ancestors, right? Viking
I do.
ancestors from Scandinavia. Is that what they're from?
Friesland, actually. My father's side. They apparently they date back all the way to Vikings, and really, I would believe it. Seeing my family at gatherings, I could really believe that it was just like started out with two brothers on a boat, got kicked out of the bar, and go, I'm gonna sail over there. Why? There's probably beer there. Okay, if you're not back in 3 days, good luck. Comes back in 3 days. He comes with prizes. He's like, look what I got, and the beer, and the babes. You went 3 days? I'm going 5. I'm convinced that's how it started.
Because that makes sense. Because you said something on one of the watch alongs. You said they were the original tourists, right?
Yeah, like they do show pretty decently the longboats, but you don't get just how shallow they are until unless you're seeing it actually up close. And I did get a chance to do that once, and I would have to be completely schmammered to get in one, let alone get in one with my family for any length of time.
I bet. Did you watch that show Vikings?
I did watch some of it. I think it fell over a chaotic period in my life, so definitely it's one I got to go back to watch.
So I remember at Comic-Con, you guys know I go to San Diego Comic-Con, and I guess the season that, spoiler alert, Ragnar dies. I don't watch the show, but of course everyone was talking about it because they were going to have a Viking funeral outside the San Diego harbor, outside the convention center. So they had a longboat there, and
wow.
literally somebody from the shore, an archer with fire, lit the boat on fire, and it caused this massive like smoke storm that was interfering with other activations outside of Comic-Con, and it became like a controversy. So I had to the fire department came and had to put the boat out because it was like the smoke was such a problem. So I was like, wow, I'm getting the full Viking experience at Comic-Con 2017, I think.
Yeah.
So it was pretty crazy.
And
Wow.
Necron's pretty accurate. If you're from Northern Europe, there's a good chance you have Viking in your blood.
Oh, damn.
It's safe to say it probably comes on both sides.
And so what Necron said was like these were the people that actually discovered America.
They discover. Honestly, I really believe they discovered more than we actually than we're aware of, because they just had that drive to go out and go explore, and it was just exploring. They went with the whole family. It wasn't just a whole bunch of guys going to trash a place, and see how much Minecraft gear they can level up on. It was literally families, civilizations going. Like they still have houses on the East Shores here, and I think it's Nova Scotia.
And so you've just so happened to land in somewhere that was actually like within your blood and your heritage and like your history, right? So you are where you belong, I guess, so to speak, in a certain sense.
I'm nowhere close to the Viking settlements. I don't think they made it quite as far as Toronto.
Same general area, but thank you for joining, because I told you I invited Mama Bear before because I was like, I have a lot of questions. I don't know, Bat Dan, if you do. I'm going to act like Mama Bear is like our expert, but I just kind of wanted to ask Mama Bear like what you thought of, because me and Bat Dan were getting into just like the flip of, the Disney-fied version of Thor being the hero and Loki being the bad guy, and then kind of in this series flipping that on its head. How, in your opinion, how was that done? Like, was that done pretty well with the actual mythology that the gods are just the gods, they're above everybody, and they treat everyone else as less than, right? And how did you feel about how this portrayal was for Thor and Loki throughout the series?
I really liked it because Loki across the board generally gets a bad rap. It's much like Hades. Hades has a really bad PR team.
Poor guy.
When
Oh yeah.
he's actually the nicest of the gods. Of the Greek
sponsored by
gods.
Disney.
Yeah. And again, Disney.
Disney.
But I'm not going to say Loki is 100% innocent, because some of my favorite stories is because Loki just got up to mischief. But I do like this change of pace, but it also showed Thor in a way Disney can't.
Mm.
And it showed the more aggressive side of him, and the lightning god.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the way that they really can't, because they're angling towards the superhero. They're not going to show him as an intimidating presence in a way that this show could.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. And so is in Norse mythology, like I know with the Greek gods, there's like, you know, the gods, like I think Ares is the god of like love and war. So is that the same? Is it kind of the same for Norse mythology? Are they like the gods of two things, one things, multiple?
Oh
things?
yeah, most of them have a multiple. I mean, Balder alone has, I think it's like 3 or 4.
Okay, yeah, it's kind of because
Like
they're all
yeah. A lot of them do carry multiple titles, and I think that's largely because of, as the civilization expanded, they're like, okay, we need to associate this with somebody. So, I think that's really how it developed. But there was always some sort of like logical connection. I mean, Freya, she is a goddess of war, but she's also fertility and virility, sexuality, which is also why she's usually associated with cats, because they have that very, yeah. Odin, the Allfather, the war god, yeah.
So I forget, and because you explained this on one of Sky's streams, Freya is the one that was shown in the series, right?
Mhm.
And then, but in the movies, it's who is the one in the movies? Is it
They do Sif in the movies. They never mention Freya.
Okay. And so because Sif in this series is Thor's wife.
Mhm.
And then of course in Disney Avengers, she's part of the Warriors 3. I guess they're Wonder Woman. So it's funny how they just kind of like start perverting.
They danced around. There might have been a relationship until the human came into the picture.
Mm. Well, speaking of humans, I know there's a lot of humans on board, but we actually got someone who's not human joining the stream. Somebody that I think this community is very familiar with. Our Jimmy man, the one, the only, Curly Ray. What's going on, Curly Ray?
Yo, what's up, y'all? What's up? I know I'm a little bit late. I've been doing some things, but I'm glad to be here to talk about Twilight of the Gods with y'all. I saw you were doing your review tonight, and I wasn't. I was kind of running a little bit behind, but I am here. I'm ready to talk about Twilight of the Gods. So, what have y'all talked about so far?
So I know you're doing watch-alongs, right? And you haven't seen the last 2 episodes, or how many episodes have you not seen?
Oh, I've seen the whole series. I'm just
Okay,
doing a
cool.
watch along.
Okay, cool. So we were just talking. Mama Bear was giving us her perspective on Thor and Loki, how they're portrayed in this series compared to, you know, what we know about the Avengers franchise. So Bat Dan gave his thoughts earlier about, you know, being thrown off because we were used to, you know, the Avengers version. What did you think about these first few episodes, seeing Thor and Loki in this Zack Snyderverse version of those characters?
Well, for me, I will be honest. I never really focused on Norse mythology like outside of Marvel, basically. And when I first approached Twilight of the Gods, I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like, this is, really different than what we're really used to, because Thor is just like going all out. He's going all in on these guys. Like, he's going through people like he's made of lightning. Like he's Ultra Instinct Goku. And Loki, another example is Loki's also really kind of different too, where he's put out into hell. But in the Marvel version, which I believe he's not a part of that, isn't he?
Loki in the Marvel version?
Yeah, he's not in hell in the Marvel version, isn't he?
No.
Well, this is the actual, from what I understand, Mama Bear, he like they reinvented in Thor Ragnarok, that Hela was Thor and Loki's sister, but that's not actually, like, Hel is Loki's daughter, correct?
Yeah,
Like,
she was
Oh,
one of
wow.
his. What was Yoramunder from Mir? I'm forgetting one. I'm sure Necron will pop get me corrected on that one.
yeah, the family tree is wild. Speaking of Thor, I was mentioning Oliva's like work that he's done. This is what he contributes to the evolution of his Thor, because he worked on Spider-Man the Animated Series, Static Shock, Hulk versus Thor, Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, where he's did more Thor, New Avengers, Spectacular Spider-Man, Mortal Kombat 2, Thor Ragnarok, of course, and then of course Twilight of the Gods. So he's definitely done his Thor research, I would say, so to speak. Wouldn't you say, Mama Bear?
Sorry, I needed to braid somebody's hair.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. Thor was literally utilizing the lightning, and Hela is Loki's daughter. Yep. So that threw me off too. Bad Dan, what did you think about that when you saw Loki's? We started to see him being haunted with Leaf, right? And we started to see his backstory, where we saw his motivation throughout the entire series. And I guess, what did you think when you saw Hel being born, and then his other daughter being kind of tossed aside by Thor?
Well, it was really interesting for me because at first watching the series, Loki just doesn't. You don't really see Loki's vulnerable side at first. You see him as you see him as the god of mischief, always has a smile on his face, always is very. You don't know what to trust. But like, I think when you see like his daughter and him just losing his daughter, as you said, being tossed aside, that's when you saw Loki actually be vulnerable. And it was such a dynamic shift, and it made me feel a lot more sorry for Loki, because I'm not gonna lie, when I'm watching the series, I'm like, okay, you're working with Loki because you want to kill Thor, but I don't know what Loki's motivation is. For all I knew at that point, he wanted to remain the top god, to become top god, but no, he actually has a vengeance too. Thor killed his daughter, and he's upset. I mean, that's like anyone would be. But it's just seeing that vulnerable side to him.
Yeah, I agree. And in my opinion, like, I don't know if this is true, Mama Bear, you could maybe correct me, but like, I guess in a way, this portrayal of Loki and us kind of feeling sorry for him is there's merit to that, I guess, based on how the other gods treat him, because of him being an outsider, so to speak. Because that's why I guess he has to be mischievous, is because of how he's treated, and therefore, goes too far, so to speak, in the sense we're tricking, as you said, Thor to use a mistletoe-tipped dart and throw it at his own brother Balder, therefore accidentally killing him, because that is his kryptonite. Is that?
I don't think in either case, like in the Poetic Edda or whatever, I don't think it was necessarily him taking the trick too far. I think he meant to take the trick too far.
Okay.
Because even in the stories, his children are bound.
Okay.
And it's through that they wind up, you know, releasing Fenrir, who is bound by chains, like just like we saw in the cartoon. And the world serpent, and so I like how this gave us that chance to see the pain of the father that through Loki, of somebody who was wronged by you know, through his children and by his community that should have welcomed him.
Yeah. And you see that, right, when he's going through the episode with Leaf, and they're both you know, being haunted, you know. And I was kind of like Sky. I was like, wait, Loki's getting affected too, you know. And it's like, well, you know, Leaf is getting more so, but Loki still, you know, there's a human aspect to him. And I think with both Thor and Loki, I love that I started to even empathize with Thor a little as the bastard, you know, even though he was a bastard and a dick and douchebag, but you know, I
never did.
I did, like, I just started when at the end when you see him start crying, you know, and Freya holding him back, I was just kind of like, you know, in a way, Sigrid and Thor were pawns in a larger game, and so I did start, you know, empathizing with them. So we talked about a lot about Thor and Loki, and we still can, but I do want to get everyone's thoughts on the main character, Sigrid. And so I guess, Curly Ray, let's start with you. What your thoughts of this character was Mama Bear. When we get to you, I want you to answer if this character is like an archetype for any particular character or completely made up. But Curly Ray, what did you think of this character as our main protagonist in the series?
Yeah, I thought she was a very good character. Once again, I think this proves that Zack Snyder just knows how to make a female character a complete badass, which is what I think. Because the way how she kind of like leads down to her team through these certain obstacles, but then, you know, by going through this quest to try to kill Thor, I thought was done extremely well. And now, is this a spoiler review? Is it spoiler free or is it spoiler?
This is spoilers? Yeah. Full spoilers.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So by the end of the series, like episode 8, like that's really where things kind of, you know, do a turnaround where it's like, oh, now she is with Thor, which is, I'm really interested where that's going to go after that. But my phone, I'm about to charge my phone for a bit. It's about to go dead, and I'm about to head towards a dead zone, unfortunately. So I will probably have to head on out of the spaces. I am going to try to listen into the background. So I will catch you guys later. I will be having to watch along tomorrow. There is something else I want to talk about. I will most likely talk about it later, but I will have a Twilight of the Gods watch on tomorrow for episodes 7 and 8 for anyone that has not seen it yet. So I will host it, and I will let everyone know. That way we can get everything started, good to go. Because Twilight of the Gods is still under 28 days, and we still need to bring in, you know, new fans and new viewership for these projects that Zack Snyder has been bringing out.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Curly Ray, for doing all you can to keep the Netflix engagement going. You are the Jimmy of the Cell movement, and we really appreciate everything you're doing over there on your channel. Check out Rebel Moon Theory and check out the Curly Ray's YouTube channel, because there's amazing content over there. And we'll be seeing you tomorrow on that Twilight of the Gods, episode 7 and 8. Watch along, Curly Ray, on Netflix.
Thank you. That is kind.
It's a Jimmy man. Good to see you, Kelly Ray. Charge that phone, and if you get some time and you want to pop back in, let us know.
Mhm.
All right. Yo, thank you very much, man.
You too. We'll see you later. All right, Bad Dan, your thoughts on our main character, Sigrid, her arc of revenge. What'd you think about this character brought by Zack Snyder and Jay Oliva?
What the Curly Ray said, Zack Snyder does female characters basically better than anyone, and I really liked her character a lot. But I really liked how they established her backstory in the first episode. Was that again, like she's a hereditary giant, or I'm trying to like giant by blood, but not giant by size. And she was an outsider among her family. And what I loved about that is, despite that, is that her family loved her. Her family treated her like one of their own, because there's so many stories where someone like that, where they would be treated different because of how different they are, how small they are. But I like that they established that the Giants, they loved her. They loved her, and the size didn't matter. It's like what her father said about how they were going to like cut down the woods so she could like set her feet down or something like that, he said. And I think that was really important, because you needed to see that family dynamic, so that when Thor killed her family, us, the viewers, felt it, because I think that was really important. So that way we can empathize a lot more with her when she's on this quest for blood, because I, as a viewer, was hurt when I saw Thor kill all those guys. I'm like, wow, damn. And what I liked about her character too is that despite her quest for vengeance, she never let go of her love for, again, this is why I say I'm bad with names. I'm bad with names for Leaf. Leaf, how do you
Leaf.
say it?
Leaf.
Leif.
Oh, Leif. Okay. Thank you. She never forgot her love for Leif. I mean, she tried to stop him from joining her because she didn't want him killed. But at the end of the day, she cared about him, and she never let that stop. Because again, that's another thing where so many stories they would forget the loved ones they still have in pursuit of the ones that are dead. And I like that didn't completely go in that direction. But she's a badass on her own, and that's what I really love about this character. And because it's a gripe I have with a lot of stories when they do female characters, is that they feel like they have to put all the male characters around them. They have to dumb them down. They have to make them incompetent. Like Supergirl, it's the series Supergirl. They had to nail it in everyone's head. She beat Superman. Viewers, Superman was at full strength. Supergirl beat her. Get this in your heads. But they didn't do that with Sigrid. Is basically, Leaf was still a competent character with her too. And I think that was, Sigrid stood on her own and was just a cool, badass character. And lay off. Okay. I had to say that a few times. But she was a great leader. I felt like she was a great leader. She was good at getting the band together. And it was just such a great story. And I'm excited to see where she goes, because it seems to me that Loki did kill her as part of a plan to get closer to Thor, to get closer to Asgard, or what they don't call it Asgard, Valhalla. Valhalla. Okay.
Valhalla.
Yes. Again, sorry people, all these different names. Valhalla.
It's all
Yeah,
good.
I mean, that was. Which again, so I'm really intrigued to see where this goes, because I'll be honest, I thought this just might be a one-season series. I thought this might be a limited series. It was going to end. I thought it was going to end with Sigrid kills Thor, and that's all it is. But no, there's a season 2, and Zack keeps doing that. He keeps ending his stories on cliffhangers with us wanting more. It's like the Snyder Cut, Rebel Moon, Army of the Dead, Twilight of the Gods. Why does he keep doing this to us?
Zack, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing.
He's a clip tease.
Yeah.
Yeah, that he is. Even with Snyder Cut, he went out of his way to add that cliffhanger, mind you.
Yes.
The movie was filmed. And he just was like, no, I'm going to add more scenes to make a bigger cliffhanger than there already was.
Gotta love the guy. Gotta love Zack. So, gonna move on to Mama Bear Doll, because we are seeing a lot of people say that Sigrid is like the Wonder Woman of the series. So my question to you earlier that I was going to set up is, if you don't know, this is fine, but I was just curious if in the mythology do you feel like Sigrid is somehow, I don't know, if is that part of the mythology a normal thing, that there's a giant offspring that isn't actually a giant, and is a character like Sigrid out for revenge, the weeping, the blood bride, is there a character like that?
Nothing really comes to mind other than maybe like the what was it, the Wagner Ride of the Valkyries, that there's a whole opera about centered around Wagner, and that he dedicated to that. And fun fact, in the prequel to what is it, the Army of Thieves,
Yes,
he goes through the whole
the myth,
Norse mythology
yeah.
when it comes to that.
See how it's all tying together, Bat Dan?
It all ties together.
Well, you did
This is
say
why
that
we
the
love this
series-
guy.
I thought Zack even said the series was supposed to connect to Army of the Dead.
Well,
I mean, that universe, I mean.
called the Twilight of the Gods.
Just because it doesn't connect doesn't mean that there's not going to be nods, because this is clearly something that's in his wheelhouse. Fascination was I am willing to bet was probably a hyperfixation at one point. I'm just getting those vibes.
Could be, like, right, like just for you, like, what was your thoughts on this character's journey, the protagonist of the weeping, the blood bride, Sigrid? What did you think of the character, Mama Bear?
There's quite often stories of shield maidens. They are much like the Amazons. They are considered high warriors. I loved her. Zack does, like, I'm going to echo everyone else. Zack does women right. Zack does them to make them still be strong and sexy. Like, and that's not to throw shade at other directors. The best way I could say it, and this is only for those who are bibliophiles.
Okay.
I love Tolkien, but for me, Eddings is superior, especially when it comes to how they write women. And they're very similar stories. I did see Bishop go saying that she's very much like Wonder Woman.
I think everyone kind of saw that connection, right? Like,
oh yeah,
because of course the picture that the poster that Zack signed, I don't know if it's actually going to come to fruition. I imagine so, but it's a picture of, Sigrid, our character, and her blood, uniform, holding the severed head with a spear, the severed head of Thor. Very reminiscent of that picture of Wonder Woman 1854.
Oh,
not even just that one. Like her with Steppenwolf's head at the end of would also be. I mean, she's a warrior, and I know that whole Wonder Woman cut off his head. Oh no, she is an Amazon. She's trained with the sword. What do you think she was going to do? Open giant letters with it?
Yeah, that's what some people
Or
think.
make a
apparently.
really big sandwich. There you go.
No, use it to cut him a sandwich for his lunch.
I love you.
Yep, exactly. So, speaking of Wonder Woman, Good Austin has a good point, and I'm glad you brought this up, Good Austin. He says, y'all remember Orisha? That episode?
No.
She was an Amazon woman who was adopted, and then she left and became a thief and a traitor. I get that vibe a little from Sigrid, not gonna lie. So the reason, Mama Bear, that I asked if it's very common in the mythology for a giant offspring to not be a giant is because I was questioning this morning after sleeping on it. The story of Sigrid, is she actually descendants of giants, or was she told that and adopted secretly from, like, is her past actual, is she related to the giants, or was she kidnapped or taken in?
That would be interesting speculation. She admits to being half giant. So I'm at this point, that's the information we have. That's the information like I'm going to go with. Could it be that she was just a tiny little human that was left over from a battle? Possible.
I mean, she kind of looks like them, though.
She does.
She does.
She
Very
does
much
the
so.
hair and the braid. So I was just kind of like, that story, when they're telling the stories, I think it's episode 6. You had a comment about that, Mama Bear. You're like, oh, that sounds familiar, the episode title. That story, though, did touch me in the heart, where her feet, my feet were hanging and they didn't touch the ground, and didn't touch the ground, and didn't touch the ground, and then Leif makes it in her throat and it touches the ground, and I'm home. I was like,
I'm not gonna lie, I got misty over that one too. On my dad's side, they're all like 6 feet tall. I'm 5'4".
I know you've been talking about meeting Sky and just holding his waist, probably.
Yes.
That Dan knows how tall Super Sky is.
Literally, if I
yeah.
ever meet the crew, I am gonna have to show up with like a bag full of Chupa Chups, just so I can represent my guild with faith. Represent the Lollipop Guild.
So for that reason, you felt kindredness to Sigrid.
Absolutely. She's short. She doesn't take ish from anybody. I love her.
So Zen Havoc says possibly half, maybe Freya's daughter, or let's see.
I'd love that.
Half giant, half god.
How did that make her small, though? Because aren't the gods like giant size, though? That's like
a demigod, though, like Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the other half is giant, though. It's kind of weird that that the size would be human. But something I did think of, though, her brothers are supposedly her brothers are also, when I say half human, like not size but blood. Aren't the brothers half human too?
No, I think they're full. I think they're full giant.
They look like
they're half brothers then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I was thinking, if they're like mom was a human, that would have been kind of a bitch to be pregnant and give birth with.
That was my thoughts. Was just like, why are we not seeing her mother? Why aren't we?
There are physics involved with that, because even with her being a half giant, that means her mother would more than likely be the human. And I think they did say that in like the first episode, that the village on the other side of the Giant's Causeway, I'm just going to call it that. I don't remember what they called it.
Yeah.
That her mother was from that village.
Yes, they did say that. And that's when they told her, she ran into that one warrior's like, then you fight with us.
There are physics involved in that coupling I don't want to think about.
Oh.
Very true. Very true. Shout out to Travis.
I was just saying real quick, it reminded me of a Simpsons episode where they were telling tall tales, and like there was like the story of Paul Bunyan, and like Homer's Paul, and his grandpa is the dad, and then he walks in on Mona after having given birth to that, and it's just a hilarious.
Yeah, pretty much. It closest I can come up with is, have you ever seen the pictures of Shaq and his girlfriend? I don't want to contemplate that physics. Shout out to her.
oh, that too. Yeah, that's
I think she's shorter than me.
Like Harry Potter with Hagrid's half brother giant too.
Yep. Oh, Hagrid was the half giant.
Yeah, but like his half brother giant.
Yes,
Like
it's
half
yeah.
giant being the
This is where half siblings gets confusing, and you
Yeah.
think I would be used to it by now.
I feel you. I have a half sister.
My family is my dad's side. There's yeah, there are a couple half siblings.
We're all family at the end of the day,
Yeah,
right?
and that's it. It was not half uncle this, half aunt that. No, just aunt, uncle. Make it easier.
There you go.
I can't be bothered with family math.
Exactly. It's too confusing.
Oh, I get that completely.
So speaking of Sigrid, we see her go through
Hey, Bishop.
this recruitment, just like in Rebel Moon and Zack Snyder Justice League, right? And we get to meet some other warriors. And I was just curious if it is Sigrid, let me know. But were any of the other characters, any standout characters in you guys' opinions? We have, let's see, let me make sure. I'm going to butcher some names, but we have, of course, one of my favorite characters is Eggle, I believe. He is the thief. And then we have his partner, which is Ailey. And I guess the name is actually Sid Kona.
The seed Kona.
Sid Kona.
Yeah.
Who is like the witch of entrails. We have the wolf, which is Ulfur. I believe that's how you pronounce it.
I think it's Ulfur.
Ulfur. And then we have
nobody's going to be grading us on pronunciation.
So I'm like, and Vara is one of the dwarves, I believe. And Vara. And my favorite character, I forget her name, was actually Sigrid's female companion. Forget her name.
Yeah.
But she was just like the introduction where she's just like, I'll have a piss and then we can leave. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's just along for the ride, right? And a mother, right? A mama bear, so to speak, but somebody who can back it up, right? She's the first one when they are in hell. And they're like, oh, if you take these weapons, there's a curse. And she's like, I'm gonna take this one. She's just like, whatever, let's go. And we have, let's see, we also get Thyra, who is the one who comes into the relationship between Sigrid and Leif. So
yeah, that
any
was
character
weird though.
How
was
so?
That, Mom Bear, was that common back in that time for like, orgies like that just happen with a gate with an engaged couple?
I can't tell you because I wasn't there.
I mean, I don't know like what history that they study though. I mean, you were into the Norse mythology. I didn't know if you knew like the Norse history and stuff too. I didn't know if that was like part of the history.
I would imagine back then the social constraints of today would not apply to back then.
Honestly, I think people will people regardless of the era. And
Okay,
that's
fair
as
enough.
delicately as I will put it when it comes to anybody's ancestors.
Okay.
But fair enough.
I have I have a visual aid to help with this question, because my question was if you had any standouts of the crew. So here we go. We have Sigrid here as our main character. Her warrior, well-endowed husband, our soon-to-be husband, Leif, Egil, as well. We talked about Loki and Thor. We've also talked about Hervor. I think that's how you pronounce her name. That is Sigrid's companion. That is my favorite standout character. I love motherly characters who are badasses. That's why I love Mama Bear. Duh. But also characters like Maggie from The Walking Dead,
and Martha Wayne.
Carol, and Martha Wayne, badass mother as well. And so these are the only characters that we meet in the first episode. but then we also get a few more. Of course, there's the giants. Let me go to episode 2. So, any of those characters standouts in you guys' opinion, or?
I
Let's
love
see, I
the
think 'cause
father giant, Sigrid's father. I really love that character. It's like just
He's
seeing,
lovable.
like, talking about how like much he really cared about his daughter, like the accommodations he was going to make for his daughter, but also the way he was warmed up to lay off. Okay, that's how I pronounce it. I may just say these names multiple times just to get it in my head. Yeah, layoff. Like the way that he actually could bond with him and accept Sigrid's happiness and accepting of an outsider, because bringing a non-giant home to the family. I mean, Sigrid's still giant blood, at least, and whereas this guy is just completely not a giant, and to the people, a complete outsider. But this guy accepted him, and then going on the opposite end, I also liked Andivari, the dwarf. I'm just gonna say the dwarf.
Mhm.
the
The
door?
little
Yeah.
when he sells the weapons, and I just love how afterwards he's like, "I'm coming with you." He just wants. And also I like what he did because he kind of exposed Loki wasn't all good either. I mean,
Mhm.
Loki brutally slaughtered him. He didn't have to do that. He could have easily defended himself without killing him, but he didn't.
I know he chose that one moment to try to get revenge, and unfortunately, that was just the wrong moment to try to go against Loki, right? But it is what it is. Mama Bear, do you have any other standouts in the cast that you were a fan of?
It's hard to say like one exactly. I mean, Ulfar is absolutely fun in just the way he talks.
Yes.
I really like Seed Kona though. And
Mm,
I have no logical reason for it. I don't know if it's the mystery around it, the fact that she's pretty much always in a hood. That's always going to level up a character for me.
well, I agree with you. So she would be my second
Mhm.
favorite character, and and it was you have to, I guess, I think, if you're not paying attention to the show closely or the dialogue, it can be missed that this is a transgender woman, right?
Mhm.
Wait, what? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, back then. So there's the whole story is that uh, it was born, the son was born, but it was foreseen that would that individual would live their life as a woman, and therefore that individual, who we know as Ailey, I think that's how you pronounce her name, wore the clothes of her mother, therefore taking over the mantle. Is that right? And Mama Bear, is how you interpreted that explanation? Because that's what when I was paying attention to the dialogue, I was like, oh, okay, I could see what they're saying. Essentially, it's saying that she's transgender without basically saying that the individual is transgender. But she's the one with the dark magic. She's the one who is the owner of Ulfar, the wolf man. And so you can tell that because his magic is purple. She has the purple magic. So,
Mhm.
was that pretty?
I did catch that they were transgender, or I don't know if it's necessarily transgender or non-binary, something like that. And I think that also is what kind of led to the intrigue for me when it came to this character. I mean, and the whole witchy vibe. I like witchy
Oh,
characters.
I love witches, except the ones on the Acolyte. But I digress.
I gave up on Star Wars ages ago.
Yeah.
They have to do something impressive to get me back.
Justice for fives.
I love the Night Sisters. How about that,
Mhm.
Batman? I love those witches, and I'm liking Agatha
Oh, yeah.
actually. So, yeah, I agree with you, Mama Bear. Like this character, and she has such a great arc, right? Like basically confronting Odin and having him sacrifice his knowledge of his past in order to see his future, which is therefore opens the door to our cameo from the one, the only Jesus H. Christ himself coming down from the cross, touching him and showing him his fate and his all-seeing eye. I thought that was beautifully done. And then, of course, the Odin gets his revenge, or does he? Or does he? Because if you strike me down, I shall become more powerful. And so by doing that, Ailey is no longer Ailey. Like, apparently it's the goddess now, from what I understand. With the power of Freya's foresight and Odin's knowledge of the past. So I guess when she is the raven, Odin's like, that was a symbolism of his past when she ate it. Is that what it was? I guess
That was when she grabbed it. That was his wisdom.
His wisdom. Okay.
Or memory. Sorry.
Memory. Okay.
Going through the episode in my head.
Yeah. No,
She grabbed it and said memory. So I assume that was a representation of his memory.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't catch it either. Good Austin, I had to rewind it because I was like, hold on. And I was just kind of like,
they mention it for like a like fraction of a second, and
it's just matter of
I'm
fact.
like,
right?
did I hear that? I think I
Yep.
heard that.
You have to really listen to it too. And then Odin also kind of confirms it too, because he knows. And then when she, because I refer to her as a she, born a male but lives life as a female, basically takes the mantle of their mother. The boy takes the mantle of their mother as the scene Kona and the witch, essentially. So yeah, I thought it was done masterfully. It wasn't pandering at all. A lot of people in this chat seem to have not even caught on to it, right? This character was just a character, and a fucking awesome character who could control entrails and freaking do amazing shit, dark magic and all kinds of stuff. So
kind of seduced Egel too.
I think Egos are. I even like in the.
He was already flexible.
Yeah,
but we got that in our first meeting of him.
I'm kind of even.
Fair enough.
I'm kind of even like the whole line when they go into his backstory about, oh, you can lay with men in conquest, but not for love. I was wondering if Leif and Eagle, if that was a thing, because he's tormented about what he did to Eagle's father, our family members. So I'm wondering. I wouldn't put it past Zack Snyder. So, anyways, but yeah,
even for that whole like ancient soldier thing, I mean, everyone knows about Alexander and his army.
Oh yeah, Alexander the Great.
So I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Oh yeah,
fair enough.
The society standards of today did not apply to the Vikings standards of today.
People will people regardless of the year.
Like you said, you can bet in conquest, but not for love. I was like, I was like Leonardo DiCaprio. Okay, I see what you're doing there. It was a great ensemble of characters, right? Just different once again, like Rebel Moon, like Zack Snyder's Justice League, different backgrounds, different diverse, characters coming together for a common goal to help Sigrid get her, revenge, but they all had their own motivations, right? Of course, we learned that one of my favorite characters here, Hervor, she is on a mission basically to reunite with her children who are in Valhalla. And unfortunately, based upon her actions and her go get them, attitude, grabbing the cursed weapon, she, unfortunately, when she is slain in battle, her and the rest of her cohorts, they go to hell, unfortunately, due to their actions. But there was a question about why Sigrid, they both, I guess, Hervor was killed by Thor in battle using the curse. She was using the cursed weapon, therefore going to hell. But Loki kills Sigrid. but she goes to Valhalla. So what was the difference in y'all's opinion? What is y'all's theory as to why everyone else went to hell, but Sigrid went to Valhalla? And in the chat, if you have a theory as well, please share.
That's the $1 million question. The only thing I can come up with off the top of my head is 2 wrongs make a right. I don't know.
Maybe I just thought maybe that weapon wasn't actually cursed. Maybe all the other ones, she just got to pick up the ladder. You just have to pick the one non-cursed weapon, or it was a different curse, or she got cursed in a different way. That was like my only guess. So that when she died, she
maybe
got
it
to
was-
go.
Yeah, maybe it was a different curse.
Mm.
Looking
Or
forward to
also-
season 2.
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
Also, too, though, they did say that hell was the better place, though, in this show, didn't they? Because when
I like how they put.
Hervor died, they said that like she was no longer be a slave to the gods, that she was actually going to be at peace going to hell. So I found so maybe that's why maybe Sigrid was actually getting punished in a way.
Yeah. Because like the end of it, right? We see like Mama Bear has said in other streams, is that she is now a warrior for Valhalla. Because we see, of course, in the battle that the ships drop and they're from Valhalla, right? And so Leif is like, we'll send them back. Let's go. So we would assume, right? If what I'm imagining, if there's another battle with our characters here on screen, and Sigrid is summoned to fight her, husband, that would be quite the dramatic flip, wouldn't you say?
Oh, and Zack Snyder would totally do that.
The drama, right? I was thinking of like all this stuff today. That's why I was like, I got to do a stream because I got to talk to people about this because I have so much to say and talk about and just think through, because it's so this mythology is just so fascinating, Mama Bear, and I love that you are so connected to it and understand it and are open to discussing it, because I think it just teaches us about our own self, our own society, and our own, preconceived notions of what Disney has given us and what is not actually authentically, mythologically accurate, so to speak.
And that's why I love
too.
this. Yeah, Paramount has been just as bad. That's why I love this, because the amount of times I've been in arguments with people in the supernatural community over Sam picking up Thor's hammer.
I heard you say that. So is that something that happened on Supernatural that was pretty...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were in an auction house, and Thor's hammer was in there. Was one of the items up for auction. And during the episode, Sam picks it up, and he's like, okay. He wasn't the only one that did. And they're like, oh my God, Sam is worthy. That's only a Marvel thing.
And that's if you consider season 9 canon. Me, I don't consider anything after season 5 canon.
I consider it all canon. It was good. I watched it all the way through.
So
I did too.
I have heard, though, the Scooby Natural is really good, right? Apparently, everyone says that.
We watched.
I like
we
that
watched
one.
that so many times. My daughter loved that. It's like her favorite episode.
I love Scooby Doo, so I've always been like, I'm just gonna probably try to put it on one day and just watch that. Like I know I need to watch the entire series. I always
It's
watch
a pretty standalone episode, honney.
That's what I heard. So I was like, I'm gonna all the crossovers with Scooby Doo, Batman, Harlem Globetrotters, Sonny and Cher. Got to see the Supernatural one, so I definitely will be putting that on. Let's see, we got Sobiso, I think that's how you pronounce the name. Hey everyone, I think all the weapons are cursed with each character's wishes. Interesting. And so good, Austin. We have Rock Talks in the chat. Good to see Rock Talks. Good Austin said she was killed by a god on the battlefield, and I think that's why she went to Valhalla. And remember, Thor never died; he just cried his way in. Interesting.
Well, the gods can go back and forth to Valhalla. That's not the issue.
Yeah.
Well, that was part of Loki's plan, though, was to get her closer to Thor by killing her and sending her to Valhalla.
Well, How did she get there though with the cursed weapon? That's
Yeah.
the part I'm still struggling with.
Because it was pretty clear from me, her spear was cursed. Like it was
Mhm.
red. It had
They made that very clear before she grabbed it.
yeah, she was the first one to get offered that, and then of course all her Vor after that was like, all right, I need that, and then of course, the Wolfman, Ovfor, he was like, I'm weapon enough, so he didn't, but he was cursed because of Ailey. Rock Talk says, I think she was able to go to Valhalla because the sword couldn't claim her soul. She was already made a deal with Hel and Loki to kill Thor, and her soul already belongs to Hel. Okay.
I do like Rocco's theory.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
I like that. Good conversation, guys. That's why I think we need we need season 2 yesterday because like it's like perfectly set. Like we don't have resolution, right? We just have more questions and more dynamics that is just like, how is this going to go now? Because it like El Necron said, I think it was El Necron, or it might have been someone else. Maybe we're going to now see Thor and Sigrid have an unlikely alliance, or maybe actually, I think Mama Bear said like an octagon type love triangle with Leia.
At this point, no, I quickly got the image that they were bringing the girl
Thyra. I think its name is Thyra.
Thera, yeah.
Thera.
That she was going as soon as like her and Sigrid had that conversation of, well, technically we were never married. I'm like,
yeah,
yeah.
And then
Sin
it's
Habit
revealed
with the $1 million question.
Very true.
Which god blessed Sigrid's weapon? Good question. Because yeah,
So
it was very clear that was and I've already made that very clear. If you touch it, you are going to go to hell. You are going to hell. You're going to die. No, you do not pass go. You are not going to collect $200.
Let's see, my computer. Okay, now it's good. If it freezes, I get booted out and I come back in, but I think it's good now. So here is our. Oh, there's a banner above it. So here's our final cast with everybody. It's hard to keep track of, but we have our goddess, the Seed Kona, resurrected. We have Leif, Thor, superpowered, Odin, John Noble. Amazing performance. My standout of the entire series is going to go to Patterson Joseph, Loki. Just amazingly written, right? Like, and I think it sounds like Dan, you might agree. Like Loki, we just saw such a different side of him. Just amazingly done. It was cool seeing Sif too, because I know when we started the watch along Mama Bear, there were questions about that character, and so seeing her actually as Thor's wife, I guess you could call her that, right? She's just on the throne. And hell, like Jamie Chung here as well, getting to see her in all her glory. Yolif, of course, by Peter Strom. Jessica Henwick. So this character, I was a little bit confused on this character, but it's a pretty big deal, right, Mama Bear?
That one, I admit that one stumped me as well.
Okay.
I'm not going to pretend to be the be all end all know it all. Of Norse mythology, or pretty much any of them. I've hopped around mythologies, much like my ancestors hopped around, various islands and ships.
I get it.
And that's all throughout my history.
Hey, gotta survey the land, so to speak, right?
Oh yeah.
Rock Tuck says, remember she died in the first episode and went to hell. Her soul was a part of the deal. Oh, part of the deal for her to get revenge. Okay, that makes sense, Rocco. So she was the one that was pulled to hell. So she kind of has immunity, is what Rock's saying, so to speak.
So she gets smuggled up there?
So I guess the theory that Rox is going with is like, since Loki, I guess, is a god, he can go to Valhalla, right?
Yeah.
Maybe something that he did to the weapon, or gave her or blessed her somehow, she's able to, even though she's not supposed to, she has a cursed weapon, she's able to go to Valhalla just because of that first episode. That makes sense. Good job, Rock Talks. I think you might have actually.
You see, he's not just a pretty face. He's actually has some knowledge too.
He's not just Triple H. Me and Rock Talks were having conversations today, and I didn't tell you this, Rock Talks, but I just still, like, every time I'm like, God damn, Paul, Triple H, Paul, you just sound so much like him.
He does.
Shout out to you, Rock Talks. I know you've been going through a lot recently, but I really appreciate you being in the chat and always giving good insights, because I think you just kind of opened my mind a little bit. I'm like, I need to watch the first episode all over again and really pay attention to the details. You Canadians, look at y'all.
Hey man, we don't have a lot to do in the wintertime. It's either we prank people or we, actually have to sit down and learn shit.
Hey.
So
we all need to be sitting down and learning a lot more shit, I think. Shout out to y'all.
Watch Phineas and Ferb. Or not Phineas and Ferb, Terrence and Phillip. That's the one I'm thinking of. Terrence and Phillip. I don't know why.
Yes. I like Terrence and Phillip. My kid loves South Park.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we mentioned Terrence and Phillip. No, that is not a reason to summon you. Go back to what you were doing.
What'd you say about that?
Literally.
Good Austin says, do we think maybe the Valkyrie took her because Loki sort of commanded it? He killed her when, as a god, the Valkyries were just following his wishes. Okay. Because yeah, there was like that always, like from episode 1, the Valkyrie was always kind of like giving that, like, yeah, you're destined to be up here. So yeah, could be a whole. There's always, I guess, in this mythology, Mama Bear, you and Necron attest. There's always someone pulling the strings behind the scenes, right?
Absolutely. That's the story pretty much of all mythology.
And,
there's always somebody pulling the strings, and half the time and everything was good, and then this horny bastard showed up.
And
if you look across most mythologies, it is that's really what happened.
And so I guess in a sense we are living in our own mythology today, because whether this side or this side, there's somebody else really controlling everything.
Oh, I see what you did there.
We won't talk too much into that, but yeah, I think we are the people and we have the power, and just like Sigrid and her warriors, we fear no gods.
We fear no gods, and we fear no bots.
We fear no bots, no shills. So I guess
no gunny poos.
No gunny poos, no reboots, no retcons. So I didn't want to be too long on this stream. I am kind of getting a sore voice, unfortunately. But was there anything else that you guys wanted to chat about the series? Because it just blew me away. I kind of wanted to talk about just like the theories and you guys' opinion on it overall. It sounds like you guys gave some amazing insight into these characters and these backstories. So any other topic, Bat Dan, that you wanted to bring up or had any thoughts about?
Honestly, I'm gonna have to rewatch this entire series, because talking about it with you guys all makes me kind of, let's just say, like, I kind of want to watch it again and get a new perspective on it. So
hey, I'm honestly gonna watch episode 1 right after this. Like, that's kind of why I'm like, I think I'm gonna wrap the stream. My voice is getting a little dry. I want to watch episode 1 again, because Rock Talks just kind of blew my mind. I'm like, I'm gonna pay attention now when they're in hell. I think actually she gets pulled at the end of episode 1, and then the deal happens at the beginning of episode 2, if I'm remembering correctly. So I have to watch 1 and 2 now, I think. But Mama Bear Doll, do you have any other topic you wanted to
No, I'm going to echo the rewatching, because that is one of the beauties of anything Zack Snyder. is the more you watch it, the more you discover, the more you catch on the rewatch. And that this is definitely going to fall into that category, and just rewatch it because it's entertaining.
Oh yeah.
It's a good damn story.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. And beautifully written,
Great
right?
anime. Beautifully written, beautifully acted, beautifully animated. Just Zack Snyder and his anime can really do well with animation. It's good. Which
agree.
again, I'm kind of afraid to say that too much though, because you know how those animate the Snyderverse people will be.
For those who want to animate the Snyderverse, there already is the movie of After the Fact.
Project Justice League. Go watch it.
You can look into your animated DC lore. If you give me 5 minutes, I can actually pull up the correct movie. In fact, no, that's not the right one. I was going to say it's Doom, but no, it's not Doom. Doom's my favorite.
Oh, you're talking about Apocalypse War?
Oh, yeah.
DC.
Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. The movie that actually stars John Constantine, because it's a sequel to the original Justice League Dark movie, just that this one incorporates the other members of the Justice League, too.
And that was so well done, and unfortunately, fucking new Crisis on Infinite Earths just tried to just dismantle all that, and they go back to that, and it's all about John Constantine, and just I did not like it.
No, it's Injustice.
Oh, Injustice, yeah.
Yes.
Injustice is amazing.
You want to see how it would have played out? Watch Injustice.
I prefer the video game version to the animated series, but
animated movie was honestly
it was not good.
Watching Injustice, I could see how much that mirrored how the story would have gone or could have gone.
Yeah, with the evil Superman.
Yeah, evil Superman killing everybody.
Queen Wonder Woman.
Not gonna lie, I did kind of want to see Henry Cavill put his right through the Joker, but spoilers. Not a big spoiler.
I'll send it to you. I actually have a fan made of it's Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, Batman in the background, and Jared Leto getting his. So I'll send it to you, Mama Bear. As much as I love Jared Leto,
Awesome.
This is amazing.
Yes.
And I recommend, if you have not watched it, Mama Bear, it is a long watch, but watch the cinematic video game cutscenes of Injustice more so than the animated movie. The animated movie leaves out so much interesting lore and battles.
Oh, the cinematic cutscenes are where it's at anyway.
Yeah.
It's where they've always been at.
Speaking of cinematic cutscenes, Rock Talk says, I'm going to check out Tomb Raider anime tonight. I guess that's dropping, Lara Croft Tomb Raider. So I believe that will be a topic of discussion this Saturday on the Lethal Geeks podcast. So I will definitely have to check that out as well.
All right, you're going to be on there. They announced that publicly at this point. So
okay, well, you're jumping ahead to the plugs, Bat Dan. So before we do that, let's get your final thoughts, Bat Dan, about this series. Your first initial watch through. What did you think of season 1 of Twilight of the Gods from Slay Oliva, Zack Snyder, Hans Zimmer, and this amazing cast and all of the production crew who worked so hard on it? What did you think of this, your first initial watch through of the series?
That's just an amazing series that it shows that Zack cares about mythology, that he takes the mythology very seriously and just can tell a great story about anything. It really shows how Zack Snyder really likes gods, because even he's used the superheroes in DC as gods. So it still just shows how much Zack loves this stuff. And yeah, just again, awesome animated series. And the animated Tomb Raider movie. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna get another rewatching, because I may do one of these reviews myself. We'll see, or I might count this one as my review. We'll see.
I'm down with that. I'm down with that. Mama Bear Doll, thank you so much for showing up and giving us your insight. I know this was very last minute. I really do appreciate you jumping on. what did you think of season 1? I know you've already given your thoughts on other streams, but
I love it. I love it. This is really between the art style and the storyline. This is how it should be done. Please, animators, studios, take note, please. The research. I'm a big fan of the research that can go into something that can make a huge difference for me. But even just for something fun, it is, without really needing to look too deep into it, it's still a good, fun story. Maybe not family friendly, but that's okay.
Not at all.
Just a little.
Not clean.
Not the kind of thing you want to watch with your parents.
we didn't really touch on all the fuckery, so to speak, of the series, but these characters, they get it on. So something that I think
they might as well have had like 70s music in the background every now and then.
Oh yeah. And hey, I think it was historically accurate to the time, so can't fault them there. If they're going to be accurate, they're going to go all in. Yeah, people are people. And that's what I loved about that. Thank you for saying that, Mama Bear, because I think we enlightened a lot of people to actually, people, and
Exactly.
people that weren't aware of Ailey's gender. It didn't matter, right? It didn't matter what that
that was the thing. It wasn't the big, the big deal of it. It was, this is part of who she is. This is her story. Okay, let's move on. It was like 2 seconds. Boom, gone. And it didn't change the character.
Nope.
It's not like they were running around going, I'm super, thanks for asking. Don't get me wrong, I love that character. But
and look, it ends up being a goddess by the end of the series. So there it is. No matter what, ultimately a goddess.
By the way.
I agree with you 100% on all those sentiments. And Sin Havoc, I 100% got those themes, old gods versus new gods. We got a flash forward, thanks to Ailey, of things to come in the series. Of Ragnarok is now set in motion. So I am thinking season 2 is just going to be so much more wild, right? I mean, we're getting, now that Baldur's out of the way, we know what's coming, right, Mama Bear?
Yep. I'm looking forward to the Song of Sigrid.
The Song of Sigrid is going to be...
Yes.
And there's going to be a lot more severed heads that she's holding, just like Wonder Woman by the end of the series. I know for sure. But I'm
glad you clarified that, because I'm dying over Austin.
Oh, my chat. What did happen?
There was a lot of those too.
I laughed at the dongs every time. It was so funny. I loved that too, and even seeing Odin's, I was like, there's King Odin too.
Yeah.
All out there.
The All Fathers, yeah.
Yeah, the All Father. All-seeing eye. Anyways, we should shut down the stream
before Twitter shuts us down, or YouTube shuts us down.
I really appreciate you all coming on to this impromptu stream. I've been really just kind of home, licking my own wounds after being in the emergency room. So I really appreciate you guys coming in and just chatting, getting my mind off of things. I haven't had much of a life other than enjoying this epic content. And so now we have more content because Rock Talks talked about the Tomb Raider animated series, and Good Austin said that will be on Cartoons and Cereal in a few weeks. But before that, this Saturday, there will be a new anime. I forget the name of it. Dan or something like that. Dan or something like that. Put it in the chat.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Oh, that one?
Not me.
Not Bad Dan. Dan.
No, Bruce Fur was talking about it the other day. Dan.
Dan. That's what it is. Yes, that's what it is.
I was asking him if he had wandered into hentai territory.
Thanks to the animators for those weirdly dangled appendages and not making them details. Yes, sir. I will agree. And I thought it was tastefully done, all things considered. You know, when I saw the threesome happening and I just saw something long coming out of Thyra, I was like, oh, I can fill in the blanks. Only like a horse. So, anyways, yeah, let's go around real quick. And Bat Dan, you have anything coming up that you want to plug before we get out of here?
Yes. Actually, Josh, you're gonna be on this too. Zod Writer will be doing a review on the first half of the Penguin series so far that surprisingly we liked. We did not like Matt Reeves the Batman, and we're beyond shocked to actually like this series. So be on the lookout for that. And I think, well, yeah, because I mean, I advertised I was gonna do a Twilight of the Gods review soon, and well, that's taken care of at this point. So
well, hey,
yeah, so
we need a rewatch. We need a rewatch so you can see what if your opinions change or you're enlightened to any gender identities or anything new that happens. So
yeah,
fair enough.
We always need more Bat Dan's thoughts.
Thank you, Josh. I appreciate it. So yeah, be on the lookout for that and have a bat-tastic day.
Yes, sir. Thanks for always being here, Bat Dan. What about you, Mama Bear Doll? Anything you'd like to plug coming up? I know you always have a Sunday show where you...
Yeah, for the rest of the week, there's nothing planned at this point. If anything spontaneous happens, like tonight, it always winds up going in my community tab as well as planned things. Sundays, you can always find me with Machiny Draws, and that's usually at 12 Eastern or 11 a.m. Pacific. Back 4 years, and I still have to think about that one. But it's always fun. We usually talk about whatever is going on in video game culture or whatever while he works on some sort of curvy waifu. And because it's spooky season, it's going to be a spooky curvy waifu. And Mondays or sometimes Tuesdays, you can find me with Brucifer over at the Kingdom of Nerds. Like I said,
always great.
Yeah, and anything spontaneous, it's gonna wind up being on my community tab. So if you're not subscribed, you're gonna miss it.
Make sure you go to Mama Bear Doll's channel. Amazing content over there. You can find her on the socials, but subscribe to her YouTube channel for amazing art and amazing conversations. And we love you so much in this community, Mama Bear. So thank you so much for being here and joining us.
Absolutely.
Before we get out of here, once again, we have someone not human, but appearing to be human. The Curly Ray is back. Our Jimmy Man has joined us.
That is such a cool mask.
Hello. What's up?
What's going on, buddy? How are you?
Do you know the story of Princess Issa?
I know it well. I know it well. We were just wrapping up, homie, talking about how we felt about season 1 of Twilight of the Gods. Do you want to give your quick thoughts real quick as we get out of here on what you thought of season 1?
Well, there is one thing I do want to mention. I don't know if you guys mentioned this while I was gone, because I was driving and my phone, I forgot my cord, but my truck has like a little plate where you can just lay your phone flat and it charges, and it was slow. But did y'all notice like some of the creatures that we had in season 1, where we had the worm, we had the wolf?
Mm-hmm.
Where have we seen that from?
I'm seeing one behind you right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But those creatures, you know, we've seen those on Jimmy's, you know, that's his symbol on his chest. So interesting.
You mean this?
Yes, that. You see, like the fins on the back?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Interesting. A wolf and a worm, so to speak. And I guess, Mama Bear, you said a worm can also be referred to dragon, correct?
Yeah, that's actually what they called the one dragon that they guarded the golden apples.
Interesting.
Trying to keep my mythology straight.
What was your favorite episode?
Yeah.
I mean, now that we're talking about it, I forgot to mention that the dragon episode was fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, that is my favorite episode. Episode 4, that's my favorite episode.
That was amazing. What about you, Batman? Do you have a favorite?
I'm gonna have to rewatch that before I make a hardcore decision with that.
You have a favorite episode, Mama Bear, or they all kind of blur together?
They all kind of blur together. I mean, for me, anything with a dragon, that's going to be an automatic win. That and the one with the pack of wolves.
Yeah.
Can you tell I really like animals?
I agree. And is that what your favorite Curly Ray, the dragon one? Or do you have
Yep, that's my favorite one. Episode 4.
Same here. It's freaking epic. Like seeing them all come together and get their little licks, and just slowly but surely, Ailey gets closer to the entrails and gets those entrails out of the body. So foreshadowing of things to come. Any other thoughts about Rebel Moon? I mean, I'm sorry, Rebel Moon. Twilight of the Gods, season 1, Curly Ray. Did you?
I think this series was absolutely fantastic, and I even think that this also leads. It's kind of like what I've been thinking. To me, I feel like this series has also been like a test in the waters for maybe another animated series, like a big one, maybe like a Rebel Moon series. Maybe not in the same animation, but maybe some kind of series that they could possibly build on from this, from what they've worked on with Twilight of the Gods. So I'm ready, man. I'm ready to see what's coming up next, and I cannot wait for Twilight of the Gods season 2 that will be coming out soon.
Same here. Hey, and apparently we don't know if it's greenlit officially, but we know that there's a Kali animated series that was, being developed by Zack and his team with Rebel Moon. So yeah, I think this success of this series, I think it ended up in the US getting to like number 4, I think. Top 4,
wow.
I think. And then, of course, it was higher in other regions around the world. So keep engaging with it, as I am right now. You see Loki and Leaf going on their little... It's my favorite episode, one of my favorite episode scenes, actually. So I'm going to have to just log off and start watching that part, because that dialogue and that speech that you and Sky were talking about, Mama Bear, with Loki... Yeah,
there's a few screenshots I want to catch that I would rather be full screen instead of half screen.
Yes, totally.
Just because the visuals are so epic.
Agreed, and it's beautifully done. Shout out to the storyboard artist Peter Pablo, I believe is his name, who I showed earlier on the stream. Got to meet him. Sky got to meet him. Leon and all of the syndicate. It was an amazing event. Curly Ray, did you want to plug anything coming up? I know you have a watch along coming tomorrow for this finale of Twilight of the Gods, correct?
Yes, I do have a watch along tomorrow night, and on Saturday I will be streaming Halo Reach on my main YouTube channel, and then soon, which I will be giving out what the next Rebel Moon Theory video is going to be about.
That would be...
It's going to be about the Jimmy Men.
Yeah, I was going to say that would be epic if it's about Jimmy.
Yo, this figure from Bandai Namco, they were cooking with this Jimmy figure. This might be my favorite one. The other one from Diamond Select Toys is good, but this one you can like move it around more and kind of do more with it. The other is just kind of but this one right here, yo, if y'all... It's pricey. It's about $50 to $60, sadly, unfortunately. But if y'all are able to get a hold of this, this is a very nice figure. There's a Korra one too, and
I just have this one. I need to get my Jimmy though. I have a thing for badass mothers. So.
Yep,
like Mama.
And Bandai's actually making another Nemesis figure like that, but you can actually move it around. It's got the flames and stuff, which you can move around this one, but the other one, it's like more to it. They are making a Korra one, which is already out. I'm going to try to get it whenever I can. But then also next week, there is... Here, let me put this up. There's an anime that just dropped that I episode 2's coming out tomorrow, but I'm thinking about doing like a episodes 1 through 3 watch along. Probably next Thursday. If not, I may have to try to reschedule it. But it's called Dan,
That's
and
right. Okay.
it just came out on Netflix. They picked it up from Crunchyroll, I believe. They're making licensing deals, and I've been wanting to also, because not only am I supporting Zack Snyder and his films, I'm also supporting all the other things that Netflix has been bringing to their platform as well. And anime is something that I really enjoy, and I think it's also very important for me to also go out and show support for these actors or these voice actors, and also these shows, these animes that Netflix has been getting on to the platform. So I'm really excited to do that watch along, and I may try to do one for Dragon Ball Daima.
All right, you got some good stuff coming over on your channel.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. So everyone go and subscribe to the Curly Rays channel, and also make sure you subscribe to Rebel Moon Theory, all the social accounts and the YouTube channel, because all that goodness is coming to those channels. So shout out to our Jimmy of #Cell Movement. We appreciate you stopping by, homie, at the tail end. Good to see you. I want to thank everyone who joined in the chat, everyone who joined in the panel. I really appreciate you guys helping me out. My voice is getting really, really strained, so I have to shut it down a little early. I wanted to go longer, but we will definitely do more streams on Twilight of the Gods, because I think there's more conversations to come. Waiting for that season 2 green light, and a lot more excitement from Zack Snyder in general with his UFC movie coming out. And who knows what else? Who knows what else? Right, Bad Dan?
Oh, yeah.
So with that said, we want to thank everybody for being here. And once again, #sell ZSJL to Netflix, sell Snyderverse to Netflix. Everyone, keep engaging. Press play on all your devices and rock out. Thank y'all for coming. And remember, we fear no gods. Y'all have a good one. Peace.